Hi, I'm Matt from Parksure. I'm frequently asked why we decided on the cover for our policies, and my response is always, we created the policies with the cover we would like should we own a park home, holiday lodge or static caravan, and that is completely true. As insurance professionals, we design the policy with the cover we would want and expect to be covered for if we were in your shoes. So you will probably see what you think is extra cover that you'll never need, but we know you do. And we've seen numerous claims for that extra cover over the years. We've seen claims that you would not believe could ever happen. So it'll never happen to me, it will, and believe me, it has happened to someone just like you, and you need to be covered for it, and any decent insurance policy should cover you for it. If your policy doesn't, then you're with the wrong insurer. Now I'm going to go through some of the extra cover that we include in your policy that we know you should have. Reinstatement new for old cover. We only offer reinstatement cover. This is often referred to as new for old cover. We don't often offer indemnity cover, which put simply is market value cover. What's the difference? Well, new for old cover is exactly as it says. If your property burns down or is written off in a storm, flood or other major event, we will replace it with a brand new one. So if your property could be 5, 10 years or even older, and if it's written off, then you'll get a brand new one in its place. The insurers will of course try and repair it if they can, but if it's a pile of ashes, then it's a new one. If you had purchased the indemnity market value cover, not through ourselves obviously, then the insurers would try and repair it, and if that's not possible, make you an offer on the current value. Don't forget, this is the second-hand value of the property itself, the physical property, not the sale price of the property on the plot, as it's the location, park facilities that add the value to the sale price. Location, 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 as they say. If your property location is near the sea and has a great view, then the sale price is a lot more. But the actual cost of the physical property itself remains pretty much the same. The value of the property itself is going to be lower than what you paid for it, as you bought into the location and plot as well, and you will still have those. Picture it like the second-hand value of a car as opposed to the cost of a newer model. How much is your car actually worth? It's like that. Now, if we were in your shoes, we would want reinstatement, new for old cover. We wouldn't want to find out that after a total loss, the value of a new property is a lot higher than we first thought, and we need to make up the difference when buying another home to go on our plot. We wouldn't want that lower cover, and trust me, you don't want it either. It's just not worth it. So that's why we do not offer second-hand value cover, as we believe it's not going to give you enough cover in that worst case scenario. So if you're looking for cheap cover, and remember that it's normally cheap for a reason, then you need to go elsewhere. Block sums insured. The other thing that can cause problems in a total loss situation is underinsurance. Your policy may say new for old cover, but if the sums insured are too low to allow the insurers to reinstate your property with a new one, you are in effect underinsured. If your cover, or more specifically the sums insured, aren't enough to clear away the debris of your old property following, say, a fire, repair the service pitch, buy a new home, as well as get it sited and reinstated on your plot, then obviously it's not going to give you new for old cover. It doesn't matter what it says on the policy. If the sum insured on the policy schedule is only, say, 400,000 and it costs 450,000 to replace your property with a new one, then it couldn't possibly be new for old cover, could it? Our policy offers you block sums insured of up to 500,000. That's £500,000 worth of cover should your property burn down or be classed as a total loss following a major event. The sum insured is currently more than sufficient to replace your property with a brand new one. Again, if we were in your shoes, we would want to make sure that the sum insured was sufficient so there wouldn't be any arguments. Let's face it, making a claim on any insurance policy can be stressful. So worrying about whether you're going to have enough cover at the most crucial of times will only add to that. So if your current policy offers you less, consider swapping. Accidental damage cover. Now there's two types of cover for damage that may be caused to your property. Standard cover, This covers you for fire, theft, explosion, storm, flood, as well as other standard perils. And then there's accidental damage cover. This covers you for all of the above and for damage that may be caused accidentally by you, your family, or your guest. Spilt nail varnish, wine stains on the carpet, dropping an iron on the floor, water in the television. That's happened, believe it or not. People putting plants on top of the televisions. Doesn't happen so much nowadays with the flat screen TVs. These are all examples of damage that has been caused accidentally. So it should come as no surprise to you that the majority of claims we deal with are accidental damage in nature. And this is cover that we would want for ourselves if we were buying a residential park home, holiday lodge, or static caravan policy. Yes, it costs more, but that's how insurance works. If you have a policy with wider cover, you're going to be covered for more eventualities, so you're more likely to claim. So it's obvious you would pay more. It really is that simple. So wouldn't you rather pay a little extra for the insurance, knowing that you'll be covered, rather than paying out hundreds or indeed thousands because you didn't have enough cover or the right cover? When we take out insurance ourselves, we want accidental damage cover, and that's why we put it in the policies we sell. Public liability cover for up to 5 million. You may not know this, but the agreement you signed with the park is likely to have in it somewhere that you must have insurance for your property. Or more specifically, it's the liability section they're referring to. They want to make sure that if you do something silly and it causes damage to someone else's home, or heaven forbid, somebody, you have insurance to cover you, or more specifically them. If not, then the injured party may come after the park or you directly. This is called public liability cover, and our policy covers you for up to £5 million worth of liability. £5 million is pretty much the industry standard nowadays, and will be sufficient to cover you for your liability as a home or property owner. If your current policy is under the industry standard, then it begs the question, whatever cover on your policy is lower than what the industry considers the minimum you should have. Pet damage. By this, I don't mean damage to your pet, obviously, but damage caused by your pet. Many other insurers exclude this cover, but with us, it's covered automatically. And why wouldn't we? If you bring something into your home, you want to be covered for it. We certainly want to be, and that's the reason why we added this onto your cover. Vermin damage. Again, something people don't tend to think about, but what if rats and mice got into your property and started chewing the wires? They can and have been known to cause fires. Did you know that most policies exclude vermin damage? One of the weirdest claims I've ever dealt with, and trust me, I've dealt with some weird ones, was when a squirrel had been chewing on wires in the attic of a brick house and caused a small fire. The insurers wanted to know whether the squirrel was a red squirrel or a grey one. Now, very weird question, you may think, but the answer determined whether the claim was covered in full or not. Red squirrels, of course, are not classed as vermin, but grey ones are. So you don't have to worry, as your policy covers you for damage caused by vermin. In fact, we've had a leisure home written off by vermin. No small feat, I can tell you. Some of our competitors' policies have this cover as an optional extra, and some don't have it at all. But if you live near a wooded area or surrounded by countryside, in all likelihood you will have rats and mice near you. And if it's to be believed, you're supposedly never more than 6 feet away from a rat. So you'll want to be insured with a company who provide that cover, which is us. The following extra cover is for the park home or mobile home onlys. Alternative accommodation cover of up to 20% of the sum insured. People don't generally think about this, as the majority will have the "it will never happen to me" attitude. But what if it did? And believe me, it can. If your home becomes uninhabitable or burns down and all that is left of your worldly goods is a pile of ashes, your insurers will look to replace them and your home. But that'll take time. Where do you stay in the meantime? Now, our policy has a temporary accommodation or alternative accommodation section should this happen. In fact, pretty much all policies should have one. Ours covers you for 20% of the sum insured. So as our building sum insured is 500,000, this equates to £100,000 worth of cover. That doesn't mean they'll put you up in the Ritz, of course, but it will be more than enough to cover you until they can source a replacement home for you, or a long repair depending on the extent of the damage. So you could be talking many months, and costs will add up over that time. I don't know what other insurers offer, and it doesn't really matter, as the 100,000 on our policy is more than enough for our customers. I'd be happy with that cover for myself. Under our leisure home policy, we have something similar, but it covers you for loss of ground rent if your property is uninhabitable following an insured event, and temporary accommodation for planned holidays up to 21 days. Emergency cabin, not something people think about, but if you're in a temporary accommodation because of a total loss claim or your home is uninhabitable, what if the accommodation you're in does not allow pets? A lot of them don't. Well, our policy covers you for up to £500 for the accommodation of domestic pets if your home becomes uninhabitable. As I said, not something people tend to think about, but luckily for you, we have. Home emergency cover. We also offer cover for home emergency for all the little ancillary things that may go wrong. Plumbing, drainage blockage, failure of window and door locks, mechanical breakdown of your only toilet, failure of your gas or electrical supply, and lost keys. All relatively minor, but all can cause a lot of stress and problems should they happen to you. I know some insurers don't feel these are worth offering you cover for, but they're all covered automatically with ourselves for your Parko. Boiler breakdown cover. Our home emergency cover also includes boiler breakdown cover for the emergency repair of your park boiler, as long as it's under 15 years old and serviced annually. We offer this automatically because we want you to have the most comprehensive cover we can offer, and this qualifies as part of it. Who wants to be out with heat? Who wants to be without heating and hot water when they need it most? With this cover, you should be nice and toasty in your Parko should anything go wrong. Legal expenses cover. A lot of park home policies have legal expenses cover as an optional extra. Some don't offer the cover at all. But what if you had a problem with the park, or more specifically, the agreement you signed to move onto your park? This is where it gets interesting, as many legal expenses cover policies only cover you for claims on contracts that are signed after the insurance policy came into force. But you would have signed your contract before you even started your insurance policy. Let's face it, you're not going to take out an insurance policy before you've agreed to and signed a contract to allow you onto the park, are you? And what if you signed your agreement when you moved onto the park 10 plus years ago, and you've moved insurers to someone who will only cover you for contract disputes signed after you're insured with them? This year, you wouldn't be covered at all. So you may find that you're currently with an insurer that either doesn't offer cover for legal disputes or won't cover you for the main legal dispute claim that comes up, even if you have the cover. Our policy covers you for the usual legal events, plus it also covers you for contract disputes, but does not specify when the contract is signed. So if you're at all worried about cover for a legal problem with the park or your park agreement, then you should be insured with us. At the very least, they can offer you legal advice. UK based. We, like you, don't want to insure or place our business with a UK based company and then find that there's a problem, our calls have been outsourced to a different country. So when you ring us, you'll either get us or our human UK based answering service. So no press 1 for this, press 2 for that, or hold. They will take your details and we'll ring you back as soon as we're able to. And that's it. We designed it with you, the end user, in mind, but with our knowledge and expertise in the park, home and leisure industry. Whilst our policy isn't going to cover you for every eventuality, no insurance policy will, it covers you for everything we would want if we were looking to insure our treasured park or leisure home. It is widely regarded as being one of the best and most comprehensive policies on the market. So if you want to insure with someone who will cover you for as much as is possible in the park, home and leisure market, you should be insured with us. Call us to discuss this or to obtain an insurance quotation on free phone number 0800 731 9583 or visit us at www.parksure.com. Take care.